Welcome back to Breakfast Central this morning, and it's time to find out what big stories are making headlines this morning. Join us to analyze and dissect the biggest stories in newspapers as public affairs analyst Olusesan Okunade. A warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us on the newspaper headlines.
Good morning and good morning, Joe. It seems to be the hardware production this morning.
Yeah, very hardware.
Yeah, I mean, all of it is at the other studio, trying to ensure that she can actually catch up with a story we're following. So hopefully she tracks back to us.
She's doing the work of the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's start with a lot of interesting stories here, but we should start with the Thisday newspaper. The headline says, Damagun to disloyal PDP members, leave our party now, talking tough. And then Bloomberg, some good news, says, Naira breaks away from oil as confidence in federal government reform grows. Naira appreciates to 1,540 Naira to $1 on the parallel market. If you recall, it's been as high as 1,600, and sometime last year, or 2 years ago, it actually got to 2,000 Naira $1. So some rare good news there. ADC, Tinubu's failure behind US snob. APC, ADC is mortally wounded. Some back and forth there. Mark, and the writer says, Mark declares party has no preferred presidential choice, pledges transparency. Lukman, coalition won't hand over structures to Atiku, Obi, Amechi. Others says, Kachuku long expelled. Idris, coalition backers bias over alleged reform stagnation. I want us to look at this story by the ADC saying Tinubu's failure behind US snob. So tomorrow, 4 African heads of states, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Gabon, and Mauritania will be visiting the United States and sitting down with President Trump for lunch. And people have been pointing to the fact that, how can the giant of Africa, Africa's largest economy, be snubbed from that event, that it's a testament to the failure of the APC government. Do you interpret it that way, or you see it different? Does America set the standard and the benchmark for who is developing and who's not? Because Tunisia is not there, Egypt is not there, South Africa is not there. Does it mean that they're not doing well in their countries?
Binga, thank you very much, because you asked the question and you provided some direct.
And I answered it. Now I'm giving you his holistic question.
Because I was about to tell you that first and foremost, the way I would say this, my personal view, we seem most of the time to overrate America with certain decision that is actually going on.
So the embassy might be watching this.
Well, he doesn't really.
Are you not afraid of a visa?
With visa, my country is fine for me, I beg. If we have to go there, we'll go there and spend our money. Let truth be told. We go there. You won't get to America and they are giving me free money. I'll work for my money there. When you go there, everybody that is there is working. So if they give you visa to go and stay there, you're working and you're growing the economy. So I can do the same in my local environment. So because anytime you want to travel, they give you the visa. You pay for your flight. Even the visa they're giving you pay for it. So it's not a free thing. But what I'm saying is that you look at the context and the people that are actually being invited. I was about to say that before you took it out of my mouth, to say, when you look at some of the countries in African continent with strong, economic base, you look at Egypt, you look at Kenya, you look at even Rwanda, you ask yourself, what is the motive of Trump, asking for this? And I take a look at possibly this BRICS agenda. Maybe he has actually put in place to say Nigeria is not actually a place to go. But you ask, what value proposition would this actually give after the meeting? Those are areas we want to look to. And if you don't forget, a lot of us have criticized that Mr. President should look inward, stay with us, create and give us the respite that we needed as a country, and minimize the level at which you go for this global speed, because we've not actually gotten that expected value of all some of this visit is saying. We can domesticate a lot of things within ourselves, and that's why you see some of the reforms we're saying is how can we actually move around. A lot of people have criticized that IMF gave kudos for some of this reform, started working. We've seen, and some of us are picking it up with the government to say it's not about the paper reforms. we are monitoring on the implementation, because as far as the country is concerned, our major problem is always implementation, because there are a few things that are actually the problem. One, corruption. People will start now. You will see the real thing that are actually there, and people are looking for way to circumvent that for their personal gain. And when that happens, most of the time we take our eyes off it, which is the corruption we're talking about, and tends to now be punishing just, you know, the fiddles that are actually not impacting on that particular policy. That's just the major problem. That Mr. President is actually not being invited, to me, personal, is a win, because we are not going to spend so much to go there, just sit and have lunch with Mr. Trump without having a direct impact.
It might even use you to, like they say on the street, to cut trips, because we've seen what happened to visiting heads of state in the last few months. Zelensky went there, it was almost a shouting battle.
Yeah.
And then the South African president went there, it was an ambush. He started playing him videos, you know, fake news.
It was an ambush.
You know,
So I'm looking forward to seeing this for, I mean, it's almost like he's summoned them. Principal is summoning you to
come and give them
and then four of them would leave their business and go sit down there. And look, I'm not predicting, just watch what we'll discuss on Friday. Let's see what happens with those four. And then what's the commonality between these countries? You have Mauritania, Guinea-Bissau, you have Senegal and Gabon. So how did he even come about choosing this country?
Well, he knows the criteria at which he has actually used to pick them. What we are after is, we have said it, that Mr. President should minimize his flying out to great disengagement. We need him more at home to monitor some of the work he has given to his people, to make sure that we have. I saw the smile on your face saying that the Bloomberg is telling us that the Naira is coming to. We want to wake up maybe in the next 2-3 months. Yeah, that dollar has actually crashed to about 700.
I mean, petrol is now
830 Naira. So we can, let's start feeling but then we can say this reform is not just that of the paper, but we are saying it because we know it's not going to be a drastic drop. It's going to be a gradual thing that would start feeling the pulse. So let's start saying that, and I don't think Nigerians will be ready. We don't want a situation where this thing will go down because election is coming, and when you now come back to the main ride, everything will go back to status quo, and you ask what suddenly happened in the midst of this. Let it just be the real reform, because a lot of us believe in the fiscal and tax reform, and the handshake between the monetary arm and the fiscal arm, having an handshake. Don't forget, large administration, the monetary people do not even have understanding of what the fiscal team are actually doing. And you hear, I'm actually reporting to Mr. President, and I'm taking directive from Mr. But here, we have an handshake between Cardoso and
coordinated.
well coordinated, and we can see the dividends.
What do you make of the 5 million Naira, and the banks now have the duty to alert the federal government if you receive 5 million Naira consistently in your account?
Well, that has been there with the financial institution, under the Financial Institution Act, to report certain amount. I know, I think it was 2 million for individual. I can't, assertively, get that value.
But this is for tax purposes now.
Yeah, it's just for reporting. So when you have 5 million, because see, the area people are going, I've not seen the gazetted this thing. The MSMEs now have a relief, I think, to the tune of over, to the tune of 100 million.
100 million.
A lot of people, what they will do now is, you try to manage
your
your
business
in such a way that you don't exceed that.
Please pause, don't give this scope. Let's stop.
No, it's
don't give the expo.
It's the truth. Don't forget, the other people on the other side, they understand the scope.
They understand the scope.
So they are Nigerians too. So it's not that we are inviting a UK person to come and do.
What about the other scope of open this company quickly, open this one, when this one is getting to 90, quickly switch?
But there is going to be a synergy between CAC, the NRS, the DIS, and all those things have a link. And from what the chairman of the policy said, this idea of TIN number and the likes, no, we are going to have a unique number
exactly
as an entity and individual. So
almost like a BVN.
Like VDA, So you have one and it transcends across every of the businesses you're doing.
Yes.
You know, as an individual, you open like 5. So we know, Joe, you open this, you open this. Okay, it's good you open all those.
So if you think you're smart, the moment is ahead.
They are, see, the crop of people that we have at the fiscal team are not the usual civil servants. They are the people that have been outside the folks.
Yes.
Understand it.
Mr. Oloyede of PwC, exactly.
And you have the likes of, when you look at the academia, you have the likes of Professor Sodi is there. From the north, you have the Umar, you have Yomi Olugberob. The big fours are there. So they know the in and out, the cuts that you want to make. And when you take that step, they are like 5 steps ahead. And that's part of what we're saying, that as government, what we need is that we need people who understand policy. Give the policy, not that it is the private sector that dictates how the policy will run. It is government that should dictate the team. When you have the right set of people that understand those things, and for the private sector, you just go to bed and sleep, because you know now they are streamlining some of those taxes. You can plan. You are now having the Nigerian Revenue Service bringing all other revenue board. So it's not that MPA is collecting this and FRS is collecting it, custom is coming, immigration is coming. You can now streamline under one revenue board and say, no, all these taxes are not, all these tariffs are not. This is just the one we want to give to business owner and everything.
But the implication of this is the government is going to get a lot more revenue.
Of course, because you have more confidence to pay. The other area where we have been engaging, I have been engaging the committee, is the judicious utilization of this thing.
But that's it's not under their purview. Their own is to collect this money.
Area where we are calling them to talk to this is to say, cry out when this implementation is not working the way you are planning. Because I know on the part of the politician, they will whistle it. They are already saying that this thing seems to be tilted towards the high end and the high network people.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
And they are the same set of people that have the power to whistle the policy and make it to go down the road. So it's just to my people to say, when things are not working the way as planned, let's cry it out and let people know that you've done your bit. And this is where we are. This is the bottleneck we are faced with. Because we must make things work as a country.
All right. Great sound analysis there as we look at that ahead of what's going on. Let's go to another paper very quickly because of our time. We'll move straight to another newspaper. Let's see if we can catch the Punch. The Punch there. Natasha postponed Senate return as NAS awaits apology. Yesterday, it was a grand entrance that they were expecting.
Well, they got a grand disappointment.
But I mean, when will she stop rewriting her own stories? Because she's always rewriting it. Don't come to the stage.
She won't follow
she
the
said, don't
script.
worry, no statement, and all of a sudden, helicopter. Now we're expecting you to come to the house. We are ready for you to come and apologize. Guess what?
Because there are conditions to that. She hasn't done the apology.
No, sure. Anyway, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Natasha before we go to other stories.
Yeah, I feel for Natasha, we should just put this behind us. People, most especially the women, had advocated with the platform at which they have in order not for them to be shut out of this. I saw one of the headlines, was it yesterday or this morning, talking about increasing the number of, is it National Assembly, and giving like 10% to the female, to the women. It's the right thing, but we must do the right thing. For me, we have over-discussed this issue. Next, if Natasha needs to come, if you need to apologize, please, let's go ahead, do that, because I am considering the fact that you are representing a constituency. So what actually are you lending in the vote? Because what you are passing to the people is that whether you are in or not, things will move on without you and your constituency. Whether you are there or not, things will definitely, it's either they are losing out or they are gaining. So let us just take the ball. If you need to apologize, I'm sure we want apology too from the other party to say, well, things have actually gone on.
We are sorry too. We may have,
you are sorry. You've tendered your apology. We are sorry. We are, yes. And let's move on.
I like what you did here.
Hold on a bit. We have a call from Chidi from Lagos. Let's take that. call. Hello, Chidi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Benga, and the rest of the people in the studio. Yes, I want to talk about Natasha Potodraga, the judgments you're talking about. We have to make some things clear. The judgment, even though ambiguous, but a bit clear. Natasha is not apologizing to the Senate. I hope we are getting this right. She is not apologizing to the Senate. She's apologizing to the court for this, for not abiding by the rule. Do not comment on this matter. And she went out and posted an apology on her side. That is, let us understand, she is not apologizing to Senate President or Senate. She is apologizing to the court for going against the order. And if the Senate are expecting her to come and apologize to them, it's not, they shouldn't do that because it's not for them. And I expect the Senate, this Senate, to be matured. It seems this Senate, they are not matured. Leaving the things they are supposed to do for Nigerians, looking out for expecting apology from the Pasha. I think we've gone beyond this. And this case is not even the main case. The sexual abuse case is not yet up. I hope you know that. We're just dealing with the substance of all other cases. We are not in the real case. So let them not be in a hurry. They want to persecute her. You know Nigerian men, African men. They have left them. They want to, but Nigerians are watching. We are watching. We want to see this case. And every Nigerian is waiting to see how this case will go on. Sexual harassment is very, 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 very rampant. If you go to the ministries, you see what I am telling you. It's very rampant. So since we have a case study and a man like a Senate president being involved in whether he's right or not, but the fact remains that his name was mentioned, and we have other cases where his name has been mentioned. The Nigerians want to hear the result. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy, for your contribution.
I mean, I think it's highlighted a very key point. The apologies, like you said,
to the court.
To the court.
Fine. Let her fulfill that if that has not been done. What we are actually advocating for here is let her return back to Senate and represent the people that voted her in to represent them at the Senate and make our own contribution as a woman in Senate and also as a senator that is actually representing people. I think that's the route to go. What we need more is governance and deliverable on the part of the people that are leading us, not some of these accusations we are hearing forth of.
No, still on the front page of the Punch newspapers. 2025 admission, JAMB sets 150 as benchmark bars on the 16th.
I see shaking your head. You don't like that?
I mean, when we wrote JAMB, it was 270. So is it that standards are dropping, or JAMB has realized that the children of these days, the digital natives that were born into the internet, are more distracted? So we should cut them some slack and, bring the cutoff mark to 150.
When I saw that headline, the only thing that came to mind is very soon we will even scrap JAMB themselves.
That's
what comes to mind.
That was said by someone as well just 2 days ago.
Yeah, we will soon scrap them because they are losing their relevance. If those days when you have over 400, people can eat as hard as cutoff mark. I remember my first exam. I think I could not have that first admission because I think I had about, was it 280 something, and they were like, no, it has to be like 300 for the course that you're actually doing. So it's those days, the pedestrian, I don't think we've gone below 250. Those days you have to have 270, 280, and you are proud that those things are. So if we are now reducing the threshold.
Because people are failing, there's mass failure.
If people are failing, if there is mass failure, if you have not reduced the standard, it's just like professional body coming to say that they will whittle down the level at which they are doing it because you want to recruit more journalists or you want to recruit more accountants or tax. That does not imply.
Doctors.
How are we going to match up? Yeah, how are we going to match up the standard? It starts from the entry level with international best practices. So when you just recruit people that could not study to pass the entrance exam, and you now bring them to school, so what do you expect of them when they now get to that school? So you must get those, because if you go and check, you still have people who score as high as over 300, 320, 340, because they are dedicated to the studies. They feel that this is all I have to say. I always tell in my profession, I saw a young boy of less than 20 qualifying as a chartered accountant, and I asked, this is the guy that said he doesn't even have a phone to himself. It is this malasa. He doesn't, all he concentrates on is studies. He said, I will buy those things in the nearest future when I bought. What I have to concentrate more on now is sacrifice all those things and face my studies. And at the 20, you have becoming. So for me, reducing this is, we are bringing down the standard. Entry level is always, look at when they are doing recruitment. Do they make the entry level that easier? No. You first have to pass that order. When you now meet with the people to have maybe an oral interview,
selection
we want to now see what you are made of. Not just reducing that. By the time you have 150, then everybody come inside. That we had those adverts those days of the bar. Everybody come inside. Then you start encouraging cultism, non-serious minded. You know, everybody just have to go because they have to go. No, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a fan of that. If the failure level is low, what that depicts is that we have few people that actually want to. Then let's now encourage maybe the technical school or vocational schools where people who cannot meet up with. The university shouldn't be for everybody. You should be prepared to actually go. Then vocational, because a lot of people may not be caught up for this university.
But in fairness to JAM,
yeah.
A lot of these tertiary institutions, the universities also have their assessment test. There's post-UME. So if JAM allows you to go through 150, they will cut you off at that.
Why are you raising the hope of somebody when you know? People like me have criticized this post-UME of a thing to be done. Why we didn't do post-UME, I didn't do post-UME, just one JAM, and I was able to have it there. Why are we creating bottleneck and overburdening the parents? Which standard are you saying that we cannot come together? All the VCs come together and say this is the standard. I don't think you can
go to University of Lagos with 150.
So, but if JAM says, okay, we are giving you admission to Unilab with 150, you're now getting there. Your parents, my son now have admission. You get to the other side. They said, okay, they brought you in, but sorry, we cannot even allow you to sit for our entry and post-UME because that is not even our own threshold of accepting students into that thing. So I feel that the crop of the VC should sit down, see how they can annex with the JAM, if the relevance will still be there, and say this is the threshold that we are expecting. Because I know
So do you think this was an arbitrary decision by JAM? Don't you think they would have consulted widely?
Well, if they have consulted widely, that means the institution that is expecting this
student
UTME exam, they are just waiting for them, collect the money and say, no, we are sorry, those things will not happen. I feel we should not raise I'm seeing it as double standard of giving admission with 150 and you may not be able to even sit for the post-UTME on the other side. I know some people might come up with you to say there are some students who had that exam under an environment that is not conducive. If you give them the platform, they might now pass the UTME. But I want a situation where you can unify the process like we used to have those days, where you sit for JAM. Once JAM does not give you, jumps you down, you go back and re-enroll and know that this is the focus. Otherwise, because if JAM is saying 150 as the cutoff, you know there are some regions now, their own will be 100.
Yes. Like the North has always been lesser.
Don't talk that one.
No, it's a matter of fact. It's there in the
when you because those days when it is 270, 250. Those areas you with 150, 170. Now you are bringing it to 150. Expect like 100, 80 in those regions. So what standard are we setting? Is to now tell us that let's scrap jam, let everybody go, and if you want to go to school,
who they admit,
who they want to admit or who they will not admit.
Okay, let's still go back. U.S. cuts Nigeria's visa validity to 3 months.
They say they've been reciprocal.
Reciprocal.
3 months, 6 months. The other time you said.
I hope you know that when you travel now, you have to come back quickly.
For those that want to, if I travel is for vacation, that's on my part. Because I have a lot of things.
You're already tired after 2 weeks.
The truth of it is, you have a lot of things calling for your attention. Most of the time when I'm out on vacation, you see this, they always ask me, sorry, are you on working leave or which one? Because you can't leave the gap there in here. There are things that are changing on daily basis that you need to just plug in. Otherwise, you come in, that money you've gone there to spend, you just be looking at yourself that why did I even travel at this point in time? So if they are reducing it to 3 months, everybody have their focus of traveling. Those that are traveling for vacation will not exceed 1 month. Those that have things that they are doing in the country, even as we say, is that really, really serious. Look at some of those big officials in so many organizations.
Yeah.
1 week. One week.
Back.
You ask yourself, why are you traveling for? You say, I just need to cool off. If it's for vacation, just go 1, 2 weeks, come back and face the business. And that's why we are putting government on their toes. Make our environment conducive for us to stay back. We are blessed with all the resources you can talk about. The intellectual is also there. Let's make this place go back to those old days when UI used to be where foreigners. What Mr. President did at St. Lucia, we've had it in time past where we have foreigners.
Maybe that the president was trying to bring back what used to happen in time past.
We must see the roadmap.
Exactly.
Yeah, locally.
Maybe he missed it, so he felt like because if he can do that, bring the students back to St. Lucia, maybe he's also thinking of bringing the foreigners back to the Nigerian Premier League.
That can happen if our politicians are serious-minded about this. If it has happened before, the difference is that we are not concentrating on those things that we should do locally. Even when they say localized things, even the leaders are promoting the foreign part of it. If you can localize it, majority of the doctors you see are out there, they are there because system works. You pay taxes, you are not doing extra activity for yourself as an individual. Power are provided, water are there. Even if you need to pay for those things, they are there being provided for by the government. So it's not your edict to provide some of those things. So that are the things that we say they should do. Our universities are there. Bring up the infrastructure in such a way that you can attract, you can allow our students. Enough of ASU strike. ASU strike. As ASU is going, coming back, NASU is going.
They were about to go on the strike yesterday. They've not received their June alert.
They are June alert.
Yeah.
No, if it is June
they've actually, he's given a directive that nobody should teach.
That strike on its own. It's just that you've not actually shut down the process. So when you're saying, but you ask yourself, people that are supposed to respond to that, it's not Mr. President. What is Mr. President doing? To say, is a phone call. Who is supposed to do this? Has it been approved by the
minister?
That's what I'm saying now. Yeah. Call the minister. The minister has somebody who is managing that particular portfolio under his ministry. What is actually, we should not allow every problem to escalate to Mr. President. If your people are not doing what is expected of them, that's why in this organization we are doing what, if you are not doing what you're expected to do, I'm sure you have a query on your table. Absolutely. When we have ifs of query piled down for you, maybe after 4 or 5 times, we try to tell you that
it's so nice doing business.
The MD will tell you that it's nice doing business. I can't continue.
I know you are talented.
You are well gifted. I think you can
try and move to that other station that start with G.
I don't know what you're saying, Benga. I'm not part and parcel of this.
But before we let's try and make judicious use of our
5 minutes.
5 minutes left with a daily independent.
Yeah.
I want us to go straight to this. Why we adopted ADC instead of forming new party by the former secretary to the government of the federation under President Buhari Babachir Lawal. In an interview yesterday, and I think it's, I expected him to be more gracious. A reporter asked him a question, and he told that reporter to shut up. I thought that was really not nice. Well, on this coalition issues. And Senate pledges not to joke with concurrence bills from reps. The House of Reps, if you recall, a few weeks ago, were threatening not to pass any bill from the Senate, saying that the Senate doesn't even, like by second reading, they toss out all their bills. Now they're saying to pass more tighter disciplinary rules. Okay, they're saying now that they will not joke with concurrence bills from the House of Reps. Ignore noisemakers. We're not planning to expel Obi, says Labour Party. I'm wondering who said this, because Mr. Arabambi was here last week and was threatening fire and brimstone, saying he's a gunner. Now somebody else is saying we are not in a hurry we don't plan to expel Obi.
They said they give him 48 hours. It's over now.
It's over
since he came. Today is going. We're going to 72.
And he said he will leak out some information that will be damaging to his reputation.
I think you should just react to that. We don't have time.
Yes.
Go on. Yeah, you see this issue of coalition, whatever we want to call it.
Or who is staying, who is going, waka or stay.
I think one thing is fundamental.
Yes.
One thing is fundamental. You can't be with two parties at the same time. So this, because a lot of politicians have come and said, no, it's coalition. We are only using ADC platform to galvanize. We will still stay in our party. That is not the grounds to go. If you are in ADC is a party of the soul. Choose one and face it. Not that I'm in this and you want to go. So tomorrow we want to galvanize and use this platform to move. And we seem to have a lot of confusion, which a lot of us who are not politicians, expected to happen, because it's like different children with different mothers. They can't have the same orientation. So everybody is coming with his perspective of actually having a hold of what
strange bedfellows.
You know, so what we have always been asking for and will continue to ask for, that we want a formidable opposition that can actually, you know, objectively criticize the current administration and give the citizen the right thing that is expected of them, irrespective of the party, irrespective of the people concerned, is to put the government and say, this that you are actually doing, we give kudos that this will be, but this is our own contribution to that which you're doing. This that you have done, we are criticizing it because objectively we have analyzed it. If we are in your shoe,
but we seem to focus a lot on personalities. We're not even talking, nobody is talking policies or that this government has done bad. Okay, what next?
What next? What have you highlighted that can be done?
You know, this reminds me, you're also an MC. You wear different hats. I don't know if you've emceed some of these events where there's a dancing competition and then they say, waka or stay, they ask the audience. So it's giving that vibe. It's giving waka or stay vibe. Or you don't MC those kind of events, Joe.
Let's
You're a top-notch MC. You don't do waka or stay.
Thank you for coming. I like your analysis, and I think I'm going to use it tomorrow. I mean, that's what it's reeking of that. Everybody, yay! Come on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olusesan.
It's been a great time to start the day.